Wham! Talk 1600. You're catching the drift. Conservative talk. Intelligent conversations on local, state, and national issues with Gary Wellings, chief editor of the Current newspaper and Current Online. Join in the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your host, Gary Wellings.
Hey, and good Saturday afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to catch our drift. Joining me in studio, the impeccable Ipsy Ed Bonderenka.
Dapper. Let's go for Dapper.
You like Dapper?
Yeah.
You don't strike me as the Cary Grant Dapper kind of guy, man.
Well, I didn't say handsome.
Oh, you're so humble, right? So humble.
That's one of my best points is I'm humble.
Yeah, you are indeed. That's
I'm proud of that.
Yes. Well, welcome to The Drift, and what we do every Saturday is go over the news that we put on thedailydrift.com. It's
the news you need to know.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, I put a lot of state, local, and international news on thedailydrift.com, so go there, and you can actually get it delivered free to your inbox email. I don't track your emails, folks. I don't know how to do that anyways, so don't worry. I'm not selling any of your information.
He is not Google.
Not Google. I can barely keep my website up and running most of the time. So, but do go there, thedailydrift.com, and if you want to call into the show, 734-822-1600, and talk about whatever we bring up or something you want to bring up, and you can email me, Gary at thedailydrift.com. So I already had some people tweeting me today about stuff to put up on the website and talk about on the show today, so we'll get to that. Do we got a sponsor today?
Yes, we do. We do. It's actually Sutton Barn.
Sutton Barn. Now,
Yes,
this is part of Rolling Meadows Golf Course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is out there on, what's the road? Sutton Road. Yeah, right there. I should.
That would explain the Sutton Barn name.
Yes. And I've been there. It's a nice place to drink. They got a really cool bar. You're thinking, hey, I know, right? Gary, you're drinking again? Yes. Yes, I am.
No
I
more
enjoy
drunk
having a
texting,
drink.
Gary.
I enjoy having a drink at a really nice establishment. This place is really cool. Rolling Meadows Golf Course, 6484 Sutton Road in Whitmore Lake, Michigan, just north of North Territorial Road there. You can go to suttonbarn.com if you want to schedule an event.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you're going to have a wedding ceremony, a graduation ceremony, get together, a business luncheon, I mean, this is the place to really impress people.
Yeah, very nice place. rmgolfcourse.com, and prices are good. Yep. The bar is nice.
Tell them we
sent you. The greens are
you.
nice. It's a great place. Tell them you saw it in the Current, COURANTonline.com. And please, if you want to advertise your business, call Ed.
Oh, please do.
Yeah. Do you want to give out a phone number?
Yes, 734-740-7309.
Ooh, you hesitated. Say I didn't have to give mine out, right? What a change of pace that is. Well, lots to talk about this week, man.
It's hard to choose. I mean, do you go for the most recent? What's the most important? We got 3 guys back. I'm sorry. The news was that Trump kidnapped 3 people from North Korea. I saw it on CNN.
Really, that's about the state of it, too. Well, before we get into all the international stuff, I wanted to just comment a little bit about the Michigan governor's race, because I've been listening to some of it's funny to see Shooty and Callie
shooting at each other.
Right? These are the 2 top dogs hitting on each other, so Pat Colbeck can just sit back and wait, right?
Well, it was his turn to get hit last week, I think it was.
And he got... And I want to talk about that a little bit because, Derek, I sent you an extra track. Did you get that? Okay, we're going to play that in a second. So Pat Colbeck went ahead and, I'm sorry, he's just doing the facts, right? He's a rocket scientist.
I'm not sorry.
And, Pat, if you're out there listening, I'd love to have you call in and would love to almost get you in and do a show on this because I think it's very important. And the left went bananas because Patrick Colbeck said, listen, Abdul El Sayed has some connection to the Muslim Brotherhood, and that's a fact, right? It's there. It's that memorandum, whatever it is. And I couldn't research it all before.
I don't know how to break this to you, but we had Colbeck on the show for about 15 minutes.
Oh, did you?
Talking about this.
Oh, did you already cover it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I get for not listening when I'm not here, right? But anyways, I would love to go over it again because I don't like the fact that he is getting hammered by the left as a racist. Well, number one, Islam is not.
It's a race. It's not a race.
It's not a race.
Yeah.
It's a
religion.
I'm not even sure I would call it a religion, frankly.
Well, to some people
it
is. Let's be straight about this. To some people, it's their religion.
I know. I'm just a
racist.
Enough. Right?
I was working with a guy, Mo. I mean, I must know like 5 or 6 Mo's. And I was working with a guy named Mo the other day, and something just went well for us. All of a sudden, he says, thank you, Jesus. Look, this guy won't eat pork,
Well, there you go.
Thank you, Jesus. He realized what he said, I think he heard it from me.
Yeah. Well, anyways, there was another thing, and Abdul El Sayed came up, and Pat was explaining, right? And this guy came across and said something which I consider very nasty, and I think it goes back to the roots. And it bothers me that this Mr. El Sayed is not, frankly, qualified to be governor of the state of Michigan.
No.
And Derek, do you have that track ready? This is at a debate, and Pat was explaining himself and happened to mention that, hey, I don't have a problem with Muslims. I just have a problem with you being associated with Muslim Brotherhood because Muslim Brotherhood is a bad thing, right? Terrorist supporting group.
Yes.
And this is how Mr. El Sayed responded. Go ahead and play that.
In the country. Now, you might not hate racist Muslims, but I'll tell you, Muslims definitely hate you.
Yeah. That was,
Really?
Yeah. Wow.
You may not hate Muslims, but let me tell you, definitely Muslims hate you. Really? Is that the kind of thing you want to portray Muslims in the state of Michigan as, Mr. El Sayed?
Yeah, really. I mean,
because I know there are Muslims who probably do support Colbeck because they want lower taxes, because they want common sense, because they want things to work well. They don't take it that way, right? So it's just aggravating that the left, including this guy, and we did mention a week or so ago that I think Sri Tanadar is suing to get El Sayed thrown off the ballot because allegedly he voted in New York state elections within the last 4 years, right?
Yeah,
and so is not an elector and should not be allowed to run. And I'm wondering, why did our Secretary of State allow this? Because he's a Muslim. Let's give him a pass.
I don't know. I some stuff just slips by you. Some just.
I'm
I'm
not buying that.
I go back to Shooty and Callie, which really surprised me. So Callie is shooting at Shooty and saying, "Oh, he didn't. He had some of his people working on his personal business on company time," and I was really nitpicky because it was like, "Hey, can you sign this and witness this?" It wasn't like they spent hours preparing documents for him. But then what really surprised me was to find out that it was because of Shooty's business on the side from being Attorney General, his $40 million business in the Virgin Islands selling real estate. Like, whoa. And he kind of was supposed to have put that in a blind trust a while back, and it turns out he didn't. Is this the guy we want for governor?
Well, yeah,
it doesn't take rocket science to figure that out.
Yeah, I got two things that hit me with Bill Shooty. The fact that as Attorney General, he never went after the voter fraud in Detroit, which was a clear-cut case. Somebody should have been punished for that. Right?
Yes.
Fines, prison time, whatever. Somebody should have been punished.
Whippings, tar, feathers, that kind of stuff,
A slap on the wrist, whatever.
Okay,
somebody
stocks.
should have said something.
I'll settle for public stocks,
But the other thing that bothers me is, have you seen his commercials? When he's standing there with his hands on his hips. Fellas, GOP, don't do your commercials standing there with your hands on your hip. It makes you look like a pretentious moron. Come on, really? I'm going to sit there.
Maybe it comes naturally to him.
For me, I just went, really? That's a terrible commercial, bro. Don't put your hands on your hips and act like you're all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Because it just makes you look like an elitist douchebag. But that's me, right?
No, you're not an elitist. Oh, I'm sorry. You meant that's the way you feel about it.
Did you just do that to me? All right, let's take a call from Ken in Livonia who wants to talk about Islam. All right, Ken, go ahead. Give it a shot.
Well, I just want to bring up that once again that Islam is definitely what we would describe as a political belief system.
Correct.
I would not classify it as a true religion.
I would agree with
you. And the one fact that people just have to get through their thick skull is that a very basic fundamental doctrine of Islam is the spreading of and the implementation of Sharia law upon any society that they occupy.
Hijra, right?
And
that what we call it, Ken? Hijra. Am I pronouncing that right?
No, Hijra is where you migrate to a country and take over by immigration, isn't it?
Whatever, that's what they're doing.
Okay, all right, I just want to make sure I was straight.
Anyways, go ahead, Ken.
Well, the thing we've got to get through to people is you might have someone that will say to you, well, I don't believe in using violence. Well, that doesn't mean that they still don't believe in trying to force through our legal system to implement Sharia law. And now I love pepperoni on my pizza. I love barbecue ribs. I love pork chops. And I can tell you that if I know somebody is running for political office and they say that they're a Muslim, there's not a snowball's chance in Hades that I'm going to vote for them.
Right.
And I think we need to get through to people that, hey, do you believe in freedom? Yes or no? Because if you don't, if you do believe in freedom, you don't want anybody who even, if they say I'm a Muslim, don't vote for them.
Right.
Exactly. Because we can't take a chance.
Yep.
Okay, that's great.
Good call, Ken. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care. Let's take a call from Joe in Wyandotte who wants to talk about Abdul El Sayed. Go ahead, Joe. What do you got?
Yeah, you had already started to mention the point I was going to bring up about the Sri Tanadar challenge. Apparently, a judge has already ruled and will allow him on the ballot despite him violating the law, saying that he has been a Michigan registered voter. Of course, he was illegally still a Michigan registered voter, though, because he was voting in New York in his state residence of New York.
So he gets a pass. Would a Christian get a pass? Would an average would a Republican get a pass? I'm just asking.
I'm sorry.
Would a Republican get a pass? Of course not. This is John Conyers all over again. Remember, Conyers, illegal petition signatures, found a liberal activist judge to order him on the ballot anyway. Thad McCotter bowed out magnanimously when he went through and his staff did things wrong.
Right.
But Conyers, of course, the Democrats, the rules don't apply. You shot for a liberal activist judge, and that's another case where Attorney General Bill Schuette and Secretary of State Ruth Johnson didn't do a damn thing to say, no, that needs to be appealed, and the rule of law upheld. The election laws need to be upheld, and of course they will do nothing about this El Sayed thing because they don't want to be called Islamophobe.
Yeah, that's right. I'm very disappointed in Ruth Johnson. And before people go ahead and call me anti-Muslim, Islamophobe, whatever, or racist because they're incorrectly thinking it's some kind of a race issue, I read the Quran from front to back and studied. And because when I was in my late 30s, I was going through a spiritual search, right? And I kind of wanted to know about that. And I read and, I incorporated some of that into my own beliefs at the time, right?
Which part? Was it this killing of infidels?
By the time I got to the end of the book, I was like, what drivel? Because at the very end, all of a sudden, there's a whole set of rules, right? Your whole life is structured out. This is what you've got to do. But at the end of the book, Muhammad gets a little pass. Mm-hmm. He gets some special dispensation that the rest of the people don't get. And I thought to myself, he must be a Democrat. It just struck me, and I put the book down, and I was like, yeah, well, that's a bunch of garbage, right? Because you know what? No, we are all the same. Same rules for everybody. Obviously not in that, which led me to believe that, you know what? Muhammad was just a guy looking for an edge, right?
Well, yeah,
I'm looking to get it.
I'm
looking for something.
A raider, a border raider. He was a terrorist. He went in.
I like what that Jesus guy did. I'm going to try that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. Islam is a Me Too religion. He wanted to create it for the Arabs. And
it's sort of like Bizarro World Christianity,
the beginning of the Quran starts off like the Torah, with the Torah. You have Genesis, you have basically books and characters. You have Jesus, you have Moses, you have Noah. They're all in there in the Quran, but then he does that only to try to supplant and pull in Christians before he takes his left turn.
Yeah, well, we took up way more time on this subject than I planned on, but I'm glad we did.
About Ruth Johnson for a second. I had to go to the Secretary of State and get my tags on short notice because I was driving around unexpired and did not notice it. I walked out of church the other night and went, saw the May tag staring at me. So the next day, I went online. I got in line online, and it said, well, you got 140 minutes ahead of you, an hour 40 rather.